Jason, thanks so much. Let's bring in now former NSA intelligence analyst and founder of Binary Defense, David Kennedy. David, good morning to you. I think some of the frustration that a lot of people expressed yesterday was that the people that they were interfacing with at the airports, at the bank, at the hospitals didn't know what to do. Would you have expected better contingency plans for something like this?
This is probably one of the very first issues that we've seen that has been this catastrophic. We're talking billions of computers worldwide. The simple just reboot the computer isn't all the steps that is actually necessary to be taken. You actually have to reboot it into safe mode. You have to delete these files. You have to be, somewhat technically savvy to actually address and fix these computers. And I think a lot of these companies were caught off guard. I mean, you think about United, for example, that was mentioned. They have thousands of gates that they're going to have to manually go to and fix all of these computers individually. There's just not enough, people, at those airports, at those locations to go and do it. Then you have companies that have hundreds of thousands of endpoints. They're going to have to re-image all of those computers to get them back again. So it's not just as simple as rebooting. Yeah. There's a lot more steps and complexities in this that are involved. So, I don't think that this was unexpected from the response side, because we've never seen anything like this before. It's one of the largest outages in the history of computers. We kind of witnessed history yesterday, unfortunately.
Wow. CrowdStrike says that this was not the result of a hack. It's a glitch in an update. But what opportunities do hackers or malicious actors see in what happened yesterday?
Because this was such a high-profile, large outage, attackers are already taking opportunity with this by going and registering websites like CrowdStrike Updates, CrowdStrike Crash, and then they're calling up individuals. They're sending emails saying, "Hey, you're affected by the CrowdStrike, outage. Go here and download these files to fix your computer, or go to this website and enter in your username and password so that they're stolen. They can try to go after your banking information." We see these low bar type of attacks where there's something really big happening in the media that everybody's aware of, but they may not know all the specifics. I was at a family reunion yesterday, and I had family members asking me, "What was this CrowdStrike thing that we're hearing about? I heard Microsoft was hacked." So the information that people are getting are sparse and don't necessarily know the details. And hackers take that as an opportunity to then go and coax individuals into either doing some sort of online fraud where they're trying to go after your bank accounts, or they're having you download malicious code onto your computer, and then from there accessing your system. So it's very opportunistic at these times, and we're seeing these happening right now as we speak. I mean, there's domains being registered, websites being registered almost every minute now to take advantage of the situation.
So your advice to people is don't click any of that. I mean, is it possible that any individual computers are affected by this or impacted by this? Like my laptop here.
Yeah, that's a great recommendation. So CrowdStrike is never going to call you directly. This is definitely impacting enterprise level type customers, not individual personal individuals. So don't believe anybody that's calling you up on the phone or sending you an email saying you're impacted by the CrowdStrike data breach. You are not. The companies and organizations, the enterprises that have full IT staffs are addressing these on your work computers, not your personal computers. It's definitely something that I would not recommend clicking on, and it's definitely going to be malicious at this point in time.
Yeah. Is there, since you worked at the NSA, is there a unique security threat, national security threat, by having all of these companies get their cybersecurity from CrowdStrike? I mean, the estimate I read this morning was, 20,000 different clients to have just one servicer?
Victor, I'm glad you brought this point up because it's such a weak point in our entire IT infrastructure and how we run technology. I mean, technology is integrated into everything we do. A few years ago, we saw Russian cyber attacks against a company called SolarWinds, which hit some of the biggest companies in the world, Microsoft, Cisco, you name it. They had pretty much access to almost any organization out there because we're so reliant off of these third parties. And that's really where our major vulnerabilities in our infrastructure, not just from a cyber attack perspective, as we saw with CrowdStrike, right? The operational aspects of things and keeping things up and running. One little tiny configuration change, which, by the way, users of CrowdStrike had no ability to block, right? These are forced updates that come through what are called configuration changes. There was no ability to stop this thing from actually happening. Our over-reliance on third parties and how a lot of really large organizations are handling pretty much all of the data, all of our infrastructure, all of our critical infrastructure. I mean, I still know hospitals that are out energy companies that are still trying to recover. I mean, this is, catastrophic in many ways. Our over-reliance on these third parties are some of the biggest vulnerabilities that we have, both from a cyber attack perspective and a massive outage that we see today. And it could have been much, much worse. I mean, think about it. If they couldn't recover, if it hit critical infrastructure like our water treatment facilities, energy grid, things like that, it could have been even more catastrophic. So we're just seeing the beginning of this, but we're also seeing the major vulnerabilities that we have in our IT infrastructure and our cybersecurity defense.
All right, David Kennedy, thank you for the insight. And again, at home, if someone sends you a link and says you're impacted by CrowdStrike,
don't
click
click
here. Do not click it. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Vic.
All right, longtime Congressman.